want to throw it to our good friend Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Daily Mail says, what the F happened to this place? Dave Chappelle slams San Francisco as half Glee, half zombie movie as surprise gig as he recalls homeless person defecating outside Indian restaurant he was about to eat in. Dave Chappelle's a normal guy. He's not conservative. He's not right. He's not left. He was very critical of Candace Owens. But when you get someone like Dave Chappelle looking around and then saying to everybody, what the F happened to this place? And they all laugh because they feel the same way.
Yep.
I feel like we're winning. I feel like we're losing.
I hope he added his encounter
but people are waking up to it.
I hope he added that encounter to the poop map in San Francisco. It's like part of the red dot.
I retweeted something that CNN had posted about the multitude of businesses that had left San Francisco, and I said it's because of crime. And I got pushback from some of my friends, and they're like, how do you know? And da-da-da. It's like, look, all of the things that you can come up with, that reasons why retailers are having problems and stuff, they're all real, right? But at the end of the day, if you have to buy cases for literally everything in your store and so you can lock it up, and you still get people coming in there and stealing things, that means you have to worry about liability for your people that are working there. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely, I can't imagine how someone would say that it's not the crime being the deciding factor. Businesses absorb all sorts of costs all the time. Mm-hmm. Taxes, and in San Francisco, it's not like it's cheap to do business in San Francisco. The overhead has got to be a nightmare. But at the end of the day, if you can't put people in the store without worrying about an interaction with criminals, without actually worrying about people getting injured, then you're not going to have businesses doing business in that location. That's all there is to it. And it's ridiculous
outside
to try
of a restaurant too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous to try to argue anything else.
Do you feel like you'd ever go back to a city? I know you're in DC, but you grew up in Chicago, right?
Yes. I grew up in the south side of Chicago, so I'm pretty familiar with terrible places across the country. The people in Chicago.
Normally I'm saying it.
Well, Amy, it's true. It's true. It's not a fun place to be. I don't like being outside at night for too long.
Well, but it's the interesting thing about it is when you grow up with it, you feel like it's normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I interviewed a couple that were from South Africa, and they said, it's not as bad as people think. We've only been carjacked, I think, 5 times. And I was like,
what?
Wow. But it's normal to you as bad as it is.
You can only get murdered once. Yeah. That's it. So,
but attempted murder can happen a lot. That's how scary it is in Chicago.
I just feel like all these stories are reasons why people will rethink cities. I mean, if you have like a young teenager, right, and they want to go to college, and they're like, I want to go to school in New York or San Francisco. If you're a parent, are you letting them? I mean, you can't make decisions for them; they're adults. But like,
I think
would you be okay with that?
Absolutely not.
I can't imagine.
Trying to start any kind of family in these cities is terrible. I take the Jack Posobiec advice and get out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been saying for a long time. I do feel like when it comes to the Penny case, one of the things that got me to come around was, let's keep the fight in the city so it's not out here, because we are starting to see some of this pop up in the more rural areas. I'm in Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia, and you've got people from DC who go there to escape what they've created, but then they bring those policies with them because they're not smart enough to realize they created them. And they're like, let's bring all those policies here. And so it's kind of like, can we keep the focus in the cities? And then, you know what, maybe even win some precedent at the larger level. Also, I think protecting self-defense is imperative. This case with Penny isn't just about him personally. First and foremost, it is. After that, it's we have to absolutely make sure that any issue of self-defense, we win.
Yeah, if you have any desire to protect your Second Amendment rights, you absolutely must protect your right to defend your own life with your hands. Like, if you have any hope of saving your right to own a firearm to defend yourself, you have to make sure that your personal safety is your own property and you are allowed to defend it. If you lose that, then you lose basically any rights to property at all. I mean, they'll take taking everything from you if they want to.
The question I have with this story with Dave Chappelle is, I said it feels like we're winning. I said, well, actually, it feels like we're losing, but at least people are waking up to it. The first step in changing this stuff is regular people saying, okay, hey, wait, something bad is going on here. The question then becomes Dave Chappelle doing a comedy bit where he tells people who live there it's bad and they all laugh. does that mean any of them will spur to action to stop this? Because if the answer is no, then we're doomed.
I think it's no.
Yeah, I'm pretty black-pilled. I think it's also no.
I think that there are so many people who think it's normal, right? Like you don't notice how bad it's getting until you leave. Who was here? One of the comedians was here. You'll know his name. He's a libertarian guy. And
Dave Smith?
Yeah, he was here. He was talking about how he moved out of the city during COVID, and then he went back for some reason and was like, I don't remember how bad this was. Like, this seems like it's suddenly gotten worse, but it's because you walk past it every day and you're used to it. I think that's part of this. Like, if you tell a crowd of people who live in San Francisco, yeah, your homeless population is really a problem, and it's kind of erratic behavior. They're like, I know, crazy, right? Anyways, like, it's just business as usual.
A lot of the denser urban areas in the south side, close to downtown in Chicago, I often smelled like sour milk. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
I had the taco smell.
Taco smell. I mean, taco smell is pretty good though.
Over there, it's great.
Yeah, and then in New York, a lot of sour milk too. Yeah. And I don't know exactly why, but that's why I often make the joke, living in a concrete block stacked on top of each other and smelling like sour milk, because there are these areas that for some reason do. I think with Chicago, for me, it was because there were some schools and they would dump milk out, like literally, so it smelled like sour milk.
I smell that all over New York, like just trash and sour milk kind of smell.
And in New York, they put the garbage in front of their houses. That's crazy.
That is weird.
Right, because
we're used to alleys.
Exactly. In Chicago, we have alleys, so you put your garbage
out of sight, out of
mind. Yeah. And then the garbage trucks go through the alleys to pick up all the trash. Yeah. New York, they don't have that.
Coyote Way.
So, dude, go to Occupy Wall Street, the Zuccotti Park where that was going down, and there's like a 5-foot tall pile of garbage outside of these restaurants because they got nowhere. That's where they put it, and then it's all piled up in the streets, and the garbage trucks come to take it. It's nasty.
It looks like Paris, you know.
Is that what Paris is like?
Yeah, because there are all those protesters there. They're mad about their retirement age.
Oh yeah.
I think the main smell in Chicago is fear and anxiety. Always having to, look over my shoulder and make sure no one's following me.
Yeah, that's true. But then they vote for, Brandon Johnson, so I'm not quite sure.
Very true.
It matters.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
just when you thought you could save the city, you had some sliver of an opportunity to go to, Paul Vallis, But Brandon Johnson is worse than Lori Lightfoot.
This is part of what makes me black-pilled on the cities and people who live there, and it's why last week I was like, I don't want to be involved in this thing. I do think winning on a self-defense case in New York means winning for us. I do think Daniel Penny should not be in prison. I do think him winning his case sets precedent about the value of far-left protests and diminishes them. At the same time, though, I still have to say, these people in these cities, like Dave Chappelle points out, they still do nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. I mean, we're both from Chicago. Part of what made me a Republican was being from Chicago, getting out of the city and looking back. As you said, it is an eye opener to see what you've gotten used to.
Were you a Republican when you grew up there?
I wasn't really thinking about it that much until I was going off into college and thinking about my own life and the world outside of Chicago, and realized it didn't have to be this way.
And do you feel like people you grew up with are similarly minded, or do you feel like they're kind of like, oh, this is just the way life is?
Yeah, I do think that they feel like that's the way life is, and they've been so co-opted by this strange Democrat message of, if you're the Democrat, you're the good guy, and the Republicans are always the bad guy, because those are the party of white guys, and us minority, the party of minorities can never do anything wrong on the Democrat side.
That's actually because of Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart made Republicans and conservative ideas toxic. It's not actually the idea.
It's going to have to take a lot to get these people to wake up. I don't know how much longer.
I don't know if they will, because so much of their lives is just predicated upon tribal social adherence. That's what I call the woke cult, the adherence to left liberal social orthodoxy with cult-like fervor. It doesn't matter what's true. It just matters that they say the thing that is right, even if it's insane.
Yes.
How do you snap someone out of that? You have to have the integrity to say no to that to begin with. You have to be the kind of person sitting at your computer at work, and then someone says, "Did you hear that Donald Trump said white nationalists are very fine people?" You have to be the person who goes, "No, that's not true. He didn't say that."
Yeah, I think we all have to be.
He said they should be totally condemned. They should be totally condemned. They're just saying some nonsense they heard on the news. You have to be willing to stand up and say, "Guy, you can't just say that. That's not true."
A lot of people on the left don't know what is actually true because they believe things that propagandists tell them. If you go through Twitter right now, there's a lot of people retweeting things that people said in like 2019, 2018 because of the whole Durham thing that came out today. People like Ezra Klein and the FBI that are people that you're supposed to respect, there are innumerable propagandists, and the left is so uninterested in hearing opposing views that they fall into the narratives that are totally unbelievable. And I think that's
No,
go ahead. Well, I think that you need to give people that have been fed a load of propaganda for as long as you can remember. You have to give them a way out. So it's like you want to be like, I totally agree. You do have to be like, no, that's not true. But you don't want to come at someone without giving them a way to walk it back and be like, oh, okay. So it's like it's better to look at it like a joke and give them an out, so that way they don't feel like you're gonna stomp on them for being like, oh, maybe I was wrong.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.